Thank you very much. I welcome all the esteemed panelists to this wonderful session, which would be focusing on the mental and social well-being of students, teachers, and also parents. We had throughout the day, we had wonderful, interesting sessions with experts and eminent speakers from across the country, both from the education sector and also from the government, from the policy making. So I welcome you all. So we have Dr. M.N. Patel, Provost with the Parul University, with the state of Gujarat. Welcome, M.N. Patel ji. And we are also joined by Dr. Rajan Saxena, former Vice Chancellor, SVKMS, NMIMS University, Mumbai, from the state of Maharashtra. Welcome, Dr. Rajan. And we are also joined by Dr. Parag Sanghani, Provost, PP, Savani University, from the state of Gujarat. And Dr. Neha Patel is also with us, Director, Som-Lalit Education and Research Foundation, Gujarat. Welcome, Dr. Neha Patel ji.
Thank you.
And we also have Dr. Bigyan Prakash Verma ji, Director, SIES College of Management, Navi, Mumbai, Maharashtra.
Good evening.
Dr. Bigyan ji, welcome.
Good evening. Good evening.
We would start our session. Now, this particular subject has become so important, and now it has also come to the mainstream with the recent demise of the well-known actor Sushant Singh Rajput. It is very much there in the education sector also. So I would request the initial 2-minute remarks of each of the esteemed panelists out here, and I would request Mr. M.N. Patel ji to start off with your response. So your voice is not audible. Can you please check? Somehow we cannot hear you. Okay, meanwhile, we will move on to our next till the technical hitch is corrected there. We would request Dr. Rajan Saxena ji to please give your initial remarks on this particular topic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sudheer. Well, this is an issue which is today out of the cupboards, I would say. It's right out over here in the society. We do realize that there's a very high degree of loneliness that exists today. Although we say that, people have so many number of followers on their Instagram or on the Twitter or on their WhatsApp pages, etc., the kind of number of people with whom they are in touch. But in reality, they are, truly speaking, very, very lonely individuals. I have seen, when I was at NMIMS as the Vice Chancellor, that many of the students would really go into a depression just because of the fact that they have failed in a particular subject, or for that matter, let us say anything which they expected has not really happened. This could even be a girlfriend issue or a boyfriend issue, or it could be somebody has not spoken to them the way that they expected that to be happening, including their own mother or their father. And as a result of which, this entire element of the depression, unfortunately, has really come up front itself. The modern education that we have built in this country has only made individuals more, I would say, lonely. They're competitive, certainly. I know for sure. Because when, let's say, from hundreds of thousands of students who compete for an MBA program, and just a few hundred students or few thousand students really come into an MBA program, and the rest are not able to make it. Or when we talk about 7 lakhs of students who are competing in the JEE, and just a few of the students getting into the engineering program, and the balance not coming in. And those who do come in suddenly find that they are lost. They are lost because of the reason that they have either come in over there because of the peer pressure, or because of the pressure from their friends, or from their parents and others. So as a result of it, they find themselves unfit, but they want to go and pursue their own kind of a passion itself. I'm of the view that this pandemic, the pandemic has further accelerated or further accentuated this entire kind of a loneliness, this entire element of uncertainty, and the worry about the future is really having an impact on the psychological aspect of the students, the parents, as also the teachers itself. It is interesting to note that the pandemic, one of the kind of a great impact of extended lockdown and pandemic is that people will be out of the job. Many of the people will be out of the job, and therefore there are going to be income losses. But who's going to be having that? Or for that matter, even let us say remote working, and talking only to the screen. This by itself creates such a big kind of a stress level. And I feel that, this whole lot of an insecurity, stress, depression, suicidal instincts have suddenly come up front. And there is a web of negative thoughts that is now getting built in. A whole lot of our media, the news and everything. And the same thing happens in the context of the universities also. When the student finds that others have really progressed, I have not been able to progress.
Yeah.
Or when I have not been able to achieve what I wanted to, while others have been able to do. So I believe it's a very, very serious problem that society has on hand. And we in education have to handle it with a greater degree of care and sensitivity. I don't think that just by rational minds will be able to do it. I don't think just by simply, applying the conventional approaches of, that we normally use when we are dealing with the student body, that's not the one that is really required. It requires a combination of heart, mind, and above all, a spiritual part.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ranjanji. Now I would request Dr. Parag, what is the need of the hour and the kind of importance that is given to this particular topic?
Yeah, I think Sudheer, and good evening to all the panelists and all the viewers. Thank you very much for Elets to inviting us for this very important topic, which we all have the higher educational professional needs to focus on. Definitely, the epidemic is, sudden. No one has planned for that, and it has a devastating impact on each and everyone's life. It has definitely impacted the education sector, not only students, it is teachers, it's the management, because it is a multifaceted impact. One hand, the fear of unknown. At the same time, it has impact because of a you can say a economic impact. As Professor Saxena has rightly mentioned, job losses, the financial management, everything has been suffered. Particularly the many private institutions who are not able to get a fees, they are not able to pay the faculties. So a lot of issues are there. But at the same time, some good things are also there. I will not say that all the impacts of COVID is suicidal or a depression. Yes, see, if you look into that, if I have a 10,000 students, my 100 students would always had a problem. So that kind of a things is a common. COVID has little bit more I little bit differed in that being online create a lot of depression. people are more connected. I can see my daughter who is studying into the schools in online medium. She was as connected as with the her friends and all that through the connect this connectivity, WhatsApp or this. Yes, it has a psychological impact because you have exposure of screens. But I personally feel that COVID-19 situations have impacted the well-being of the students, but it's not the way we are making a hype about that everything is been destroyed and all the students are in having a suicidal tendencies. I don't think so. They are more connected with the family. They have been more with the understanding their families. They know who is bua, who is mama, because everyone is I've seen lot of my family members are playing antakshari nowadays on a WhatsApp or on a various platforms. So I personally feel yes, the issue was always there in higher education about well-being of a student. But I don't consider that the way we are talking hype, that all the students are now in depressions and all the students are now on the mental status and they required intervention. All the universities, like we have started the COVID helpline, but I don't see there are a lot of students. Government of Gujarat has started the very good helpline for COVID, but if you see the number of call and all that, it's not that much. If you see that, it's not that there's a line in that center and you are not getting the lines. So I differ with a few of my seniors that COVID has impacted on mental health. There are a lot of peripheral issues. Yes, financial issues. There's always created stress, but it does not lead to the suicide. And for all, always few percentage of students in higher education, because of our way of upbringing, has impacted that. But it's a larger system issue, and COVID has little bit improved on that. But I personally feel that today's generation is more connected, and being online does not mean to the mental illness. That's what we should not conclude like that. That's what my take
Yeah,
today on that, Sudheer.
thank you, Dr. Parag. Very well. Of course, how we take things and how we utilize is the aspect. Now I would request Dr. Neha, what is the importance that's been given on this mental and social well-being in the education institution and also in general in the education sector?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last part of it? I couldn't hear the last part of your question.
The current importance that is being given for the mental and social well-being in the education sector.
Okay, thank you. Good evening to the panelists. I would like to, go back a few steps. I think per se, yes, COVID has had issues in the social and mental well-beings, but I will agree with what Dr. Rajan Saxena has said. If you look at today's generation per se, I'm not saying everybody, but there's a huge percentage of the young adults who will be going into the employment, who will be going into the industry, who are, for lack of a better word, mentally weak. I'm not going into the reasons for that. There are multiple reasons. It could be the nuclear families, it could be the competitiveness. There are a lot of factors which are affecting it. Yes, students are connected, but they're connected. Are they actually joined together where I can talk to a student, I can talk to my parent, I can talk to my friend? That is a concern area. We at our institute identified that a few years ago because our students who used to come for MBA programs earlier were aged 22, 23 because they had worked for a few years and come. Now the students are coming straight after their undergraduation, and we realize that actually they need a lot of emotional mentoring. And we actually have identified a lot of students because they themselves see the need to fit in. You mentioned earlier about, our actor who was so successful in spite of a lot of issues, took such a drastic step. Each student right now, I think, is probably trying to fit in, is trying to be successful, and each one has a different parameter. So this is a very important issue. COVID or no COVID, I think as teachers, this is what we need to do. And unfortunately, the educational system, because, for teachers, how am I ranked? I'm looked at the API index, I'm looking at the research papers I put in, I'm looking at the consultant projects I put in. But am I actually doing my job, which is actually, creating the future citizens, looking at the employability of my people? And so I think it's a very important issue with or without COVID.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Neha. Now I would request Dr. Bigyan Prakashji. So in this current scenario, I think you need to unmute your this thing. Yeah. in the current scenario, do you think this current scenario has accelerated the negative side of the well-being and the social engagement and also the mental well-being of the students?
Thank you, Sudheer, for inviting me for this panel discussion. And it's so nice to see all the eminent panelists for this. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're clear.
Every time I interact with my students, because what happened on the 18th of May when the lockdown was announced, it was a big shock for everyone. And trust me, it kind of robbed the dreams of a lot of students, because a lot of students, especially in higher educational institutions, so they were really looking forward to these 2 years, something which will lay down the foundation for their career, and it was really robbed in one go by COVID-19, not just here in India, but all over the world. I just tell them one thing when I used to interact with the students, that storms never last. COVID will go away sooner or later. The mutations will stop, and vaccination will be found, and some solution will be found. Time and again, in fact, we have suffered from pandemics. In every few decades, pandemic has come in, right, since so many years back, about 300, 400 years back. But let me just tell you one particular example. This is what I tell my students also. In the year 2008, when the subprime crisis took place in the US, and lot many top organizations and banks, and they went down. Hundreds and millions of jobs were lost, and a lot of business schools all over the world, just couldn't find job opportunities for the students. But these, if you really look into the data, the statistical data of what really happened to those students, all these kids are doing exceedingly well today. Because it did take time to come back to normalcy, because by nature, we want to go, we don't want to live in a disruption. We don't want to live in a very disturbed life. So we really want to find a solution as soon as possible. Look at the way, we initially, when the lockdown 1 was announced, we all were we remained confined to our houses and all. But the moment, we started unlocking it, we started coming out, and time and again, I see in the news that industries are opening up, and so we are very likely to go back to things will come back to the track, and the opportunities. Yes, students are under stress, no doubt about that, because it will have a kind of rippling effect. Which will be seen in days to come. Let's not forget also the fact that too many new opportunities are coming up. If you really look into the data, there are at least about 100,000 jobs which have been announced by some top companies, including L&T, which came out in the market asking going to recruit about 10,000 people. Now that's also a reality. The only thing is skill sets will change. The same thing. Teacher skills cannot teach for future jobs with the old curriculum and the old style. That's gone. So as the sir mentioned, Dr. Rajan sir mentioned right at the beginning, is that everybody will have to change. It's a stressful time for us, but we also have to learn to be quick, and that's the same thing is happening with the students. So I am just telling my students is that don't give up hope, and I think they are surrounded so well because of the digital connectivity. They're with the family. They are under stress, no doubt, but chances of them resorting to something dreadful will always be there, of course, but it's not going to be humongous and terribly sad in the days to come. That's what I feel as such.
Thank you, Dr. Bigyan. I think now we would move on to Dr. M.N. Patel. I hope the technical hit has been corrected. Dr. Patel, can you hear me? I think you need to unmute your...
Can you not unmute him? Sudheer?
Now you can hear me?
Yes. Dr. Patel. Yes. We can hear you now. Very clear. So, yeah. Sir, I would request to give your initial remarks on this particular subject, the priority that is being given, and in this the mental and social well-being of the students and also those in the education sector.
Okay. Very first, I will congratulate Elets for arranging a number of such webinars, and I've got a second chance to be a part in that. Today is a virtual conclave, where no doubt it is a long session, and number of stalwart speakers were there, and different topics they have taken for consideration. And just now we are going to discuss that mental and social well-being of a student, teacher, and parents during this crisis.
Yeah.
Obviously, this landscape in education is evolving with the technology, and due to this condition, pandemic, rather COVID-19, it became the uncertainty, anxiety, and rather confusion and curiosity in this, because there is a change in the entire system. So to adjust the mind for all levels, students, parents, teacher, it is really a very tough job, because we are not accepting the change normally. Whatever going on, we are just habituated with that, and we are following that. So there are a number of problems, maybe due to that, but ultimately, as we are knowing, this so-called COVID is going to last long, as per the report of whatever we are hearing. Obviously, we have to make our mind, we have to change accordingly, we have to set up this, and how and best way we can help our students, or how our teacher can serve better, and how our parents be, no doubt there is a lot of fear of this disease itself. So it is very difficult, but some counseling, some training, or some information to be given to all, so that we can do the best for the education.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Patel. Now I would move on to Dr. Rajan Saxena. I would request you to, as Dr. Neha has mentioned, the emotional mentoring to the students. Are the staff, the teaching staff, and the administration is prepared for that such emotional mentoring? To what extent they are ready, and what is the system that is being followed? Can you throw some light that's being done at your institution? And yeah.
Well, Sudheer, I think first thing is that I just wanted to correct you. I'm not Ranjan. I'm Rajan Saxena.
Sorry. Sir, can we have your camera a little position so that we can see you wholly? Yeah.
Does it make better?
Yeah, that's yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say, and was very rightly said, I think my first set of a comment was perhaps the perceived that almost everybody getting into that kind of a mold of getting into a depression. No, it's not that everybody. But even if it's 1, 2, or 3 cases that happen, it puts us all of us on an alert. Unfortunately, as I said right in the beginning, the education system that we have today and the sheer pressure that exists today on the or engaging the classes, or meeting up with the, let us say, the academic requirements and everything, leaves very little time for the faculty to really do one-to-one kind of a mentoring or one-to-one kind of a counseling and stuff. But I believe that there are some of the faculty members and the deans also. So really listen to that kind of a point, wherein they've got into an emotional mentoring, which is very important. There are times when the student who's on the campus has nobody to turn to, doesn't have the parents to fall back upon, because the parents are in another city, and there's no way by which he can sort of get in touch with them. The other is that perhaps even among the friends, although he has so many number of friends, yet in reality, he doesn't find himself able to relate to any single individual when it comes to sharing something which is so very internal. You know, this whole thing which is happening in one's mind, one's emotions at a given point of time, feelings that are going on in the individual's mind, is something which is many a time the student is not able to share it, except to somebody whom he trusts. And incidentally, the person whom we trust is generally the teacher in an academic system. And I think the teachers, the deans, have to find some time out. At this point of time, I don't think that kind of a capabilities exists. So at NMIMS, what we had done was, apart from having a counselor, a psychological counselor, would be there as a clinical kind of or let's say clinical counseling, which she would do, and we had created an absolutely one department consisting of a couple of such kind of psychologists, counselors who would sort of advise, who would talk to the students on a continuing basis, and especially whenever there would be stress. And whenever there were signs which were, which would alert the system, she would immediately bring it over to the dean and say that this is something which is happening around, and please take care of this. And if the response wasn't coming through and the case was just simply going from bad to worse, the matter did come up to me. And that was a time when I would often call up the student, spend some time with the student concerned, try and find it out. And one of the kind of things that is extremely important in today's kind of a time, which is what we are trying to do at NMIMS, though in a limited manner, was in terms of bringing in a couple of spiritual organizations, to do some work with the institution. Now, the spiritual organizations were not there for the purposes of advancing religion, lest I'm misunderstood. That's something which is there. But somebody like, say, for example, the Brahmakumaris would possibly come in and do a session.
Yeah.
And offer that matter, we have had people from missionaries who would come in and do some sessions on Mahabharata or some sessions on let's say that, and not Mahabharata per se, but actually the psychology of conflict, and would look at the internal conflict and not just merely the external conflict that we see. The whole conflict that exists in the mind, I think unless and until we have the experts coming to the place, things don't really happen in an academic system. As I said right in the beginning, the system is competitive. The system is more exclusive. It excludes a very large group of students. It is not a very inclusive system. Fortunately, the technology gives us that kind of a power to make the education more and more inclusive.
Yeah.
Even when we are making it inclusive, that that the student still remains isolated because he or she is right with the screen in a virtual setting also, and with the screen, and therefore I'm missing out on the social part and the social value of learning, which comes up in a campus-based kind of a program.
Yeah.
And therefore, to my mind, it is somewhere or the other, we have to strike a balance between technology and online and on-campus programs.
Yeah.
And alongside with that, I think it is important to create more and more helplines within the institution. And we need to have more and more social networks which the students can talk to and which they can relate to. And I think it is this kind of a continuous dialogue that is really required. That somehow the other day is out. At the same time, I think if a student, for example, has a problem and has had a problem in NMIMS, for example, the dean would step out or the teacher would go one step forward and talk about what the student has done, the positive aspect of the student performance, the positive side of the student, and not focusing on the negative side. Not saying that this is what should not have happened. This is what you have done, and that is why, this is what you are getting. No, I think it is important to bring that kind of a positive aspect. Build on the positivity rather than the negativity. That is important. At the same time, strengthening the social connect with the parent, building up that kind of a parent network, so that the parents are able to come up at the time when you have a crisis which is just brewing and not when it is full-fledged blown up itself. So I think it is that part that is important.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rajan. Now I would request, coming to Dr. Neha, to what extent is the staff, the priorities given to this social and mental being, and there is also a requirement for the staff, the teaching staff, which is already entrusted with the other subject to be taught upon, to what extent they are being trained on this particular subject, so that there is a emotional mentoring and a proper monitoring. What is the system that is followed at your place? You can throw some light.
Okay, actually, I would say that I wouldn't consider ourselves lucky, but I think we had a head start. I've been in academics for 13 years. In the last 4 years, what I've observed, and we as a management team observed, the changing class dynamics of the students who are coming in. So it's been 3 or 4 years where we started some sort of mentoring for the students by the faculties. Since the faculties are the people who go and teach the students, they were able to identify few students, we heard, because see, in management, you have students coming from different stratas, different geographies. I mean, there's amalgamation from even different degrees. So we had to understand, what was happening to these students. And so we thought the faculties were the right people to do so. So 4 years ago, we actually kind of, mentored our faculties to go and pick out those students. So we realized that, see, initially, we used to look at a simple example, that English is what should be the de facto in a management program. We've been taught that. But we realized there were few students who were coming, who came for Vernac backgrounds in school education, but when they came to a higher education, they have switched to English. So they had fantastic ideas, but communication was a problem, which led to them getting into a depression because they were not able to showcase. No one was willing to hear them out. So we encourage our faculties that not to treat the students based on English as a language, but to go for the ideas. And similarly, each student, because they're with us for 2 years, faculties did that. So we've been lucky that we've done that. Also, when we do the placements and summer internships, we are in constant touch with the students, because our biggest mentoring, when we start giving them lectures for placements, we tell our students that, initially when the first students start getting placed, there is an anxiety which happens among the other students. Let's say someone goes at a higher package, you get a lesser package, there's again anxiety which is felt. At that point in time, also the faculties have been trained and we've been doing this. Yes, COVID has given us extra, because a lot of people who were placed got letters from the companies saying 6 months down the line, we're deferring your appointments. Summer internships, which is basically where our students get pre-placements, we had work from home. So in this case, luckily for us, because the faculties had some idea how they already knew the students. So we did a lot to one-to-one sessions. Also, we have, which is called a mentor-mentee program, where in our second year students, we identify who we think are very responsible. We use them to talk to our first year students. Because see, some things, as a faculty is taken with certain inhibitions. But when my second year students talk to them about, how things can happen, what is the positive thing. Also, what we also did is we kept a lot of online sessions, which were generic. They were not tuition or subject led. Any student could ask us any form of questions on a one-to-one chat, anything they felt like. People came, and also what we did is during the first lockdown, we did an enormous research with our students and their parents. Okay. And what we realized is the first lockdown, students were very happy, but they were getting anxious because they were not able to go out.
Yeah.
What we told them is, it is your task, because you're the leaders of tomorrow and the managers, to hold your family together. Yeah. And then we did a research for the second lockdown, and so on and so forth. That's how we have been able to handle it. And we're also learning as we go.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Neha. Now I would request Dr. Bigyan to give your inputs on this, on the system of emotional monitoring and emotional mentoring to the students, and what is the system that is being followed in your institution?
Sudheer, The group in which the institution in which I work belongs to a group called South Indian Education Society, which is more than 80 years old. Now, one of the reasons why this society has become extremely popular and ethical is because of the value-based education. And the business school where I'm leading is almost about 25 years old institution. And if you really look into the vision and mission statement, the kind of importance we give to this subject called mentoring is absolutely, humongous. I just would like to give you a couple of instances and why we take mentoring a very serious issue as such. In Microsoft, if somebody gets a fat bonus, it's not a matter of celebration. It's not a matter of great celebration. But if somebody is appointed as a mentor, is considered to be, wow, a wonderful thing has happened. And I'd like to also quote a study conducted by Gallup, which is a San Francisco-based institution, research institution. And what they did was they interviewed almost about 30,000 students in the US who graduated from various, right from top Harvard to all kinds of business schools, 15 years later to see what they are doing in their life. Are they happy? Are they happy to over the fact that wherever they went and they did their business management course and all? And the three things came out. Three extremely important things came out. All of them who really did well in the life, they said, number one, which really mattered the most was the kind of experiential learning which was given in the institution, which they acquired in the institution. That was number one. Number two was the amount of involvement which the students had in extracurricular activities, not just the co-curricular and the co-curricular, but the extracurricular activities. And the third most important factor, the third most important reason was mentoring. All the students who succeeded and did well in the life, they said they were excited by the mentor which they had in the college life. Now, I would like to caution people saying that mentoring, everyone just cannot be a mentor. Mentoring is an art. It is not like coaching. It's not like teaching as such. It certainly is an art. It has to be taken very seriously. Because I believe, and the institution where I work believes in the fact that every student has some kind of talent, and the only thing is that has really not come out. And with the help of mentoring, because mentoring is a very person-centric relationship based kind of interaction with the students and all. And with this, we try to explore or, take out the talent of the institution. And there is a very structured way to go about it. It's not just I sit down and then ask questions and this and that. It's a very, very structured way. And that's what we have initiated here. And we've been doing it for so many years. Why just our faculty? In fact, a lot of our alumni who are doing extremely well in their life, and they were mentored very nicely by the faculty members from SISCOM, our institution. They have been mentoring. So we have corporate mentors, we have alumni mentors, we have faculty as mentors. And because like today is the time, it's a very serious. In fact, Sir, Dr. Rajan sir also had mentioned that, it's a time the students really need to be mentored time and again. And this is the time, in fact, I have been telling my students, don't forget the fact that Isaac Newton, when he, in 1665, when he was quarantined because of the pandemic, which suffered, and that was the time he actually kind of invented the theory of gravity. He was quarantined, he was at home, and that was the time he was at his best. So this is the time you've got to be at your best. You need to be in touch with your parents, your faculty, your alumni, the people from the corporate. And trust me, the whole world is going to help you. But this entire idea of mentoring has to be a little very personal and relationship based. And we try to explore the talent which the student has. And we need to work on that because they have to set the agenda, they have to work on the agenda, and they'll have to achieve it, and then together we can celebrate. That's the idea on which the SIES College Management Studies have been working for years together.
Absolutely wonderful. Good to hear, Dr. Bigyan. Now, I would request Dr. Parag to please give your views on this and on the emotional mentoring, emotional monitoring, and what is the system that's being followed by your organization?
Sudheer, what we have done at PP Savani University, when I I came from abroad to lead this university, a few years back. I was in Dubai and a couple of years I worked there. So when I come here, I found that our students are lacking the emotional intelligence. And today's youth are facing this crisis. And I see our curriculum and syllabus and all that UGC has prescribed the course on value and ethics and all that. I tried to run with a few of the faculties, but I realized it's not working. So what PP7 University has done, we found who can the best. So definitely the religious organizations or those who are working. So we approached the BAPS, which is one of the very famous non-government organization, work a lot of things on a religious front, but they have very good system and everything. So we started program called IPDC, Integrated Personality Development, where we focus on 4Q. Their IQ, SQ, EQ, and FQ, and this is a 60 hours full credit course. It means that all the students of PP7 University has to pass this course, and that will be run last semester for 600 students. And the fantastic feedback we have received, some of the students saying that I was not sitting with my parents, now I started sitting with the parents, now I started someone has said I before coming here I have a suicidal tendency. So we work systematically to overcome and give them emotional support. And that has been very beautifully designed by coursework, on the video. So that's what we have done, that it's a part of curriculum. They have to go through it, and it's nothing religious. It's all about the way of living the life, handling the failure, So this is what we have tried to give at PP7 University. And I must say that each and every university, and that our initiative has been taken forward by the many universities in Gujarat, and they are starting this kind of a courses for the students. So I say that we have to work on systematic. Apart from that, mentor-mentee systems and all are there. But see, if we will not put the students into the right kind of a counseling system, it will be backfire. Many times I have seen that many universities are giving to any teachers that you have to counsel them. If we will not provide right kind of counseling, it's something like they're providing a wrong prescription. Though you identify the disease well, you are not working on that. So we need a proper clinical psychologists. We need a proper system who can handle and who have experience in handling the youth. Otherwise, I have seen any faculty is just a part of a workload. Many universities I have seen in India, we have system that you give as a part of workload and they do, but that does not work. IPDC program, first of the university in Gujarat which has implemented this program successfully, and it's creating wonder for my students. Their entire thinking pattern changes, their positivity has been changes. Simple example that when they before this program, students were not giving respect to the teachers. When teacher enters, we have to force them to stand up. After this program, the entire work culture has been changed. They understand why they should give the respect. They understand that why they should be positive in life, why they should not see negative bad words. We have a lot of students from the diamond this worker's son and all that. So in that situation, this kind of a systematic intervention and program will make a difference, not a knee-jerk reaction because COVID is there, we need a mental helpline and then we don't need anything. I think we all higher education institutions, because we have copied Western culture. We have copied the Western curriculum. See, in earlier days, students were there at Guru's ashrama. They will punish, like Krishna, so that you can see that. But we have copied Western system. That's why we need mental clinics. But otherwise, we have friends, cousins. These all systems were there. So we have to redevelop that. And at PP7 University, we are very, very clear about Indian ethos in our all the work, and that's what systematic intervention will make a difference. Sudheer, not the only one-time COVID mental health line will change the scenario in India.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Parag. Now I would request Dr. M.N. Patel. Hello.
We can't see him here.
Yeah. So now we have spoken about, we have very well discussed, wonderful inputs have been given. Now I want the response from the eminent panelists out here. What is the positive and very refreshing mental and well-being aspect that is going to be, that has been triggered by the COVID-19, which is constructive, which is positive, which is refreshing? I would request Dr. Rajan Saxena ji to please give a two-liner response on this.
Somewhere at the early start of this panel discussion, I think Dr. Verma or Dr. Neha Patel, one of them, said about it, was to remain focused on the opportunities that are there. More and more, looking at what are the kind of new things which are happening around. And I believe that at this point of time, the 24/7 media that is there is today increasingly, or at this point of time, is just turning out, the numbers. How many people have got infected, how many have died, what has that really happened? You look at it, when you are tuned on to that kind of a media, and if that media is continuing to work around, it starts playing on the mind of the individual.
Yeah.
I think one thing important is to look at what is it that one can really do at this point of time, the opportunity that exists. Very rightly said by Dr. Verma that, and people have used that kind of long, let's say, quarantine periods or long isolations, doing things which they wouldn't have done otherwise. For example, pursuing of a hobby, or maybe let us say doing something like picking up something which is an entrepreneurial kind of it, an opportunity, an entrepreneurial. Start doing something which is very interesting. Which one would not have done it otherwise.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is that the institution, as the institutions start opening up, as they start connecting back to the student, in the new academic year, first thing is to really work more and more on the new opportunities that COVID has really opened up. Such kind of extended lockdowns always create opportunities which are more entrepreneurial, which are more out of the mind kind of opportunities, that out of the box kind of thinking that are there. And the more and more the institutions are able to do it, the more they are going to be doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not today in a driver's seat, so I can only talk about it more from what the institutions should be doing it. But believe me, I think it is the first part that is critical. Secondly, I think look at the opportunity that exists today in higher education of bringing in some of the best resources from the world to the classroom. No more now the education, no more now the instruction is limited to the faculty only that the institution has. Today, if for example, the Savani Institute, Savani University or Som-Lalit, or for that matter, let us say Parul, or any other university in this country or any other institution wants to bring in, let's say, wants to pick up a course for the students, or let's say wants to integrate a course from Stanford, or want to bring in a faculty from there, into that classroom, they can do it. It is something which you wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
The value of the degree today has to be reimagined. The whole, I think COVID-19 has opened up this kind of an opportunity for all of us. And if we are able to do that, and if we are able to focus on redesigning of the programs and restructuring of the program and reimagining the program from the perspective of future employability, and then bring in those kinds of resources together, believe me, we are sending out a very, very positive kind of a message at a time when there is so much of an uncertainty, so much of an insecurity that exists today. That is the time, by saying that this is what you can really do, these are the kind of skill sets, say for example, emotional intelligence, or if it is machine learning, or if it is deep learning, or it is, let us say, talking about kind of thing that's going to be required, then you look at it, who's going to be doing it? Showcasing that kind of faculty and bringing them in will really play a lot more, will play a very significant role. Second, I think which is an important role is that the institutions would have to do is to tell them very clearly that social distancing does not mean social isolation. Where important part of it is social distancing is not social isolation. I liked what Professor Sanghani was mentioning. This whole lot of our social structure of India is such that we need to be building on it. Unfortunately, social distancing is seen as something. And now, I cannot communicate. I cannot be with you alone. It is not social isolation. Even if you are alone in the university, even if there is nobody else, the fact is your parents are not there. Even then, there is a social system within the university that will help you to be able to meet or to be able to respond to some of those challenges of being alone in a city, and also coping up with the pressures of the city per se.
Yeah.
Modern education. So social isolation is not, social distancing is not social isolation. So connectivity is critical. And thirdly, putting a focus on the student and the faculty, as also some of the seniors, should talk more and more in terms of looking at the positive side and not just simply the negative side. And the important thing is that they must focus on what they can control. Important thing is, let's not worry about what we cannot control. We cannot control, let's say, the infection, but I can control what I can do in my immediate environment. So focusing on my own part, that is important. And staying calm will be very.
Yeah.
Last but not the least from my side would be to let the students talk about their stresses and their concerns. The more they are able to share, and the teacher and the deans are able to give that much of time, the better it is for the system per se and for the students part of it. A whole lot of our work, which Dr. Patel was talking about, Neha Patel was talking about, is so refreshing. It is important to understand that the student should find somebody to whom he is able to really turn on and talk his own inner self out.
Yeah.
That is important.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rajan. It's time to reinvent, and it's not social isolation. It's but physical distancing rather we would use. So now I would a two-liner response, Dr. Neha, on this: a refreshing, constructive, and a positive take that's come in present scenario.
I think for me, when I speak for my students, and what is coming is they have probably reconnected with their family. And that, I think, is the biggest asset I see in my students, because that reconnection is going to make them emotionally stronger. When a child is emotionally stronger, we are there to handle them academically and make them ready for the industry. So I think the biggest positive I've seen is the time that they've spent away. Yes, they have probably spent a lot of time on the screen, but they've also connected with the family, which I think is huge in this day and age.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Neha. Now I would request Dr. Parag, your two-liner response on this refreshing, positive, and a constructive take in this present scenario.
Thank you. I think I agree with Dr. Rajan and Dr. Neha. They covered 2 points, but I will say that one point which I would like to say, that higher education is in a reinvention mode. And as I called it, an ask component in higher education: attitude, skill, and knowledge. So what in this COVID has given, that knowledge component, people has learned to discover themselves from anywhere, on demand, anytime, anywhere, on demand. So that's what the knowledge component, and that has been free. Earlier it has been captured within the boundaries of universities. Now it has been gone to the global. So you can take knowledge from anywhere, from any person from any time. So that is the biggest positive point. But for attitude and skills, still higher education institutions are required. They have to come, and in future universities, I said the experimentation places where students only come for practical, students only come for to socialize, students only come to. So that was the biggest change I can see that COVID has bring to the Indian higher education or a global higher education, and this will transform the Indian higher education. That's what I personally feel. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Parag. I would request Dr. Bigyan, your take on this.
Hi, Sudheer. I would like to quote Dr. Vijay Govind Rajan from Tuck School of Business. He's a professor of strategy. He says, if you solve all the problems of the world and not education, then the next generation will have all the problems. And on the other hand, if you make sure that you solve all the problems related to education, but not other problems, the next generation will solve all your problems. Now, this kind of massive changes were required and needed, in education for a long time. COVID has only accelerated the change. All the speakers over here are talking about democratization of knowledge, which was so much needed, But today, and in fact, even 10 years back when MOOC was launched, the massive online open courses were launched by top class institutions, the failure rate was 78%. People used to join and just leave. Today, if you look into the data of SWAYAM portal or NPTEL, can you believe the users have gone up by almost about 10 times in just about 3 months' time? And there are some top class courses where the cert was talking about machine learning and deep learning and whatnot. Everything is there. And one of the top courses which I saw from Stanford on machine learning, can you believe how many users are there? 2.5 million users are there. Now that's just the kind of knowledge which is spreading all over the world for a cost which doesn't really cost much at all. In fact, many excellent top class relevant courses are available. Now this kind of democratization wouldn't have happened had COVID not come in. Now you would also notice the amount of webinars and the discussions, the top class panelists, eminent academicians and others are coming together and discussing, because this is going to change what Vijay Govindarajan has talked about, that education needs to be addressed today. And this is exactly what we're going to do. And this disruption will lead to a huge amount of positive changes, the entire gamut of education, whether at the primary level or the school level or the higher education, whatever be the case, So that's what I believe. I really look at, I kind of thank COVID for, changing the entire ecosystem of the education in the days to come. And by the way, one last thing is the work from home. Now as even announced that 75% of the people will work from home, that is going to decide the business schools. That's the kind of change which is going to happen in the days to come.
Yeah.
Over to you, Sudheer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bigyan, Dr. Neha, Dr. Parag, Dr. Rajanji, and also Dr. M. Patel, who is not here now. It was wonderful discussion, a holistic discussion, and need of the hour. It's time to reinvent and move forward. And I thank all the eminent panelists who have joined us for taking out the time and giving their inputs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, and pleasure meeting all the panelists.
Same here.
Thank you very
Please
much.
do connect
Dr.
on
Neha, Dr.